It's an amateur choir, but the sound these folks makes is stunning. They performed for years under the leadership of their much beloved director, who died suddenly and unexpectedly. The search for a new director began, and they found an interesting guy. He and the board came to a decision about a new vision for the choir, deciding that rather than being solely about music, there was a grander service for them to provide. That vision laid clear the path forward. Everyone in the choir auditioned to remain, and although it was hard to do, some were asked to leave. They simply couldn't clear the performance bar necessary for the vision of the future. And it's working, because the choir is even better than before. Answering the "what do we want" question first made the "how can we improve" question easy to answer. And that's the point. There must be a vision of a better future in order to make sound decisions about how to solve problems and overcome challenges. The test is always about which choice best moves us toward what we want, that better future. David Brooks writes in his June 27th piece, "The GOP Rejects Conservatism," quote, "The current Republican Party has iron dogmatic rules about the role of government, but no vision about America," close quotes. For example, Republicans chant the mantra "small government, low taxes," which sounds appealing and which they have never practiced at the federal level in my lifetime. More important, that mantra only describes the government they want. It's a tactic for something, but they never say what that is or describe a better future. Now, let's go to the other side of the aisle. The Democrats can't seem to articulate much of anything about a vision for America either. Like the Republicans, they're clear about certain issues. For example, there seems to be a consensus about health care being a right of all Americans. But that isn't a description of a vision for a better America. It's a tactic to accomplish something. What does that better America look like according to the Democrats? Once we Americans agree on what we want, then a sensible discussion can begin about how to achieve that. Absent a vision, we wound up squabbling over individual issues with no concept of how or whether the various tactics help move us toward that vision. I still like the Jeffersonian statement in the first few sentences of the second paragraph of the Declaration of Independence. Do we as a nation still hold those truths to be self-evident? And I like the preamble to the Constitution too, for its clarity of vision. If that's the vision, then the solutions to our challenges must be measured against that vision. Honestly, I never hear a discussion that sounds even remotely that grand, yet that is what is needed if we're to get beyond selfish squabbling and solve our very complicated challenges. Let's take this one step further. What if the people now in charge have a very different vision for the future of America than you do, and they aren't telling you the truth? What if you're being played right now to benefit those holding the reins? Don't imagine this as a propeller hat notion, because that happens regularly around the world and right here in America too. For example, while we were grieving over 9/11, George W. Bush used that tragedy as an excuse to invade Iraq and get draconian, unconstitutional laws passed in order to spy on you. To flesh this out more clearly, have a look at Naomi Klein's work on governments using public shock to advance their power grabbing. There's a link to her short video in the written blog. Watch it when you think your bones can tolerate being rattled. Rachel Maddow almost got punked by government-planted fake news last week. This is really sneaky stuff. Your government planted fake news in her inbox in order to discredit the press in general and Maddow in particular when she aired the lies. Perhaps they did that because she's been steadfast in reporting on the Russian hacking story. Had Maddow taken the bait of that fake top-secret document, the discreditor-in-chief would have railed against the press, and we would likely be left with one less watchdog over government at a time when we need our press A-team suited up and on the field. There's a link to her reporting in the written blog. Both the Maddow and Klein pieces bear heavily on a vision for America, and you likely won't like the vision these pieces point to. For more on this, read Seth Abramson's Twitter string, and you'll understand more fully how compromised America's future is becoming. Many thanks to CH for pointing me to these pieces. I'm Jack Alshuler.